Sure. Let's try puttering around with the Mortician's tail. Won't be very long, so I'm told. Anything else I want to play around with the options? No, I can always come back to this stuff later. He says he clicked something, because his vision's not great. September 14th, 10:15 a.m. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to you and helps with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear that joke about a hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when I come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. I think you'll enjoy working here. Amy is a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Cheers and good luck. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie, as she told me she likes to be referred to. Charlie is a recent graduate who came highly recommended and is eager to begin her career here with us at Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home. Please take the time to make Charlie feel at home within our little family. Have a nice catered lunch this afternoon. You're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is. In your office preparation room, you'll find your cremation station, cremulator station, embalming station, and obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. You will not find the air conditioner right now. I know you have experience working these stations, but please let me know if you have any questions. Good luck, you beautiful and smart babe, you. I guess my subject lines to you should start being more professional now that we are business professionals. Can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you were able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something you really think that much about. I should look more into this, learn more about your world. Speaking of being a professional, a museum gig is amazing. I can't believe someone paid me to move to London to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. My stories require you to see my face and that you hear my excellent British accent impersonation. Also, I signed you up for a funeral's monthly newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift. I love you. I'm super proud of your gift. Love you, love you, love you. Hello, Charlie. Hope you're settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly and is glad to have someone young and lively to work with. First body of Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. Family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. Family seems a little bit more united than previous families we dealt with. Strange how grief attracts people different. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier, if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. No one is going to see her body, but I'd like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find her in the prep room. And then the previous email chain. No embalming her, closed casket. And then tips for good etiquette at a funeral. Thanks for subscribing. New newsletter every month. Good etiquette for attending a funeral. Funerals are a hard time, we understand that, but here are some quick and easy rules to remember for being respectful at a funeral. Don't be on your cell phone. Don't be loud and obnoxious. Don't get drunk. Happily reminisce. Give condolences. Dress appropriately. Give a gift or sign the registration book. I'll get right to it. This is the prep room where you will prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the family has requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you are just going to clean the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over the body. Clean it. That's it, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You're responsible for taking care of the deceased body, but it's also important to pay your respect to their loved ones. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlor. Everyone's already here. Hi. You would have hated these paintings. She was so particular. Yeah, at least she doesn't have to see them, I guess. That's... yeah, I guess. I hate wearing pantyhose, my legs are so itchy, but it's always so cold in these funeral homes. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me now. Mommy, I'm hungry, when can we go? Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. Do those chemicals leach into the ground? It seems strange to be using a chemical that is known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Or into the sewer, that's what they must do with the leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain? At least embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. Stop it, don't make me laugh right now. We usually don't small talk a lot of these things. At least that's what I was always taught. I don't know how they got into that room, but it doesn't matter. October 11th, 10:09 a.m. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from. Okay, we got a number of things. I'm so frustrated right now. Okay, so let me explain this in a bit more detail. A colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907. The liver is tapered inwards from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing on her corset. It's fascinating because it's kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular, while people associated with it with fainting or hysteria. It's actually been associated with visceroptosis, which is when the organs fall to the lower part of the abdomen. It's super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. So, TLDR, corsets probably messed up some bones, but likely didn't do this kind of internal organ damage, and I'm tired of the condescension about my wardrobe that also implies I don't know what I'm doing. These are the kinds of things I specifically research, and yet I am treated like I know nothing about. I'm having a day, Charlie. Then it's a chain. Can I rant for just a second? I'm so tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, anybody, male colleagues, get on my case for wearing corsets. I wear them under my blazer and over a nice blouse. It's not like I'm dressing inappropriately, even though dress codes are such sexist BS anyways. And like, I hate how their misogyny gets veiled in faux concern. Jin, I'm just worried you're damaging your body. You know what corsets do to your livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers. They're definitely not hurting me as much as your condescension is hurting my head. Ugh, sorry, I'm out of sorts right now. I'll send you another email in a little bit when I've cooled off. Then a big old thank you for helping that previous family. A story about death. Hey there, Charlie. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients to the last trip around town, and I was thinking, did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? As a teenager, about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, totally out of the blue, really tragic stuff, messed me and my friends up real good. So the big day, we all got into our best suits and dresses, and packed ourselves into a few cars. There were a lot of us, so we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars, While we're in the procession, going to the cemetery, somebody in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out some asshat driver who doesn't know to not get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but can you imagine getting that call? Anyway, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing. Just laughing her ass off in that way that makes you not sure if they're really just crying, or they've gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and then we all started giggling, because, like, go figure. Life is messed up sometimes, There's no moral, no point of that story, I guess. I just remembered that story and wanted to tell you. Because we work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off guard for what that actually means. Well, before you get any ideas, that has nothing to do with why I became field director. That decision came totally later and is nothing unremarkable. In a bit. Next job. Here are the instructions for your next body. You did a remarkable job on the first one. The family is very happy with you. Your next job is a man named Mr. Duval, an elderly man, died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter, Lizzie Duval, if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing as well as can be expected. Always don't hesitate to ask me any questions. Charlie dear, please remember to wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you, but my eternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't bother you too much. Just a little. I'll get right on it. I'm already in the proper gear. Hooray. Traditional burials typically require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents it from decomposing as quickly. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Let's start by cleaning the body. Click on the razor and drag it over the body to shave it. Shaving is not this easy in real life. Can confirm. In order to break rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. How precise and exact do I have to be? A little bit. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each eye socket to give it shape. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag the glue onto each eye to shut it. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. To keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. Suture. Click and drag the needle and thread over the jaw to close it. Click and drag the lotion over the body to moisturize it. This prevents the skin from drying out. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. Going to need a tube for draining the blood. Click on the tube and drag it into the neck incision. Click on the cannula and drag it onto the carotid artery. This is how you'll get the preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. The carotid artery. Okay. Now you need to connect the embalming machine. Grab some additional tubing and drag it there. Click on the button on the embalming machine to turn it on. Or to evenly distribute the chemicals, you'll have to massage them through the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. Great, now let's sew up that incision. Almost done. You'll need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Okay. I had to click and hold. And you're done. Mike will take care of Mr. Duvall's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. It's time to attend the funeral. And we're out of our protective gear. Came out of nowhere. I mean, it always sort of does, doesn't it? You know, one minute you're laughing, having fun, and then the next, poof, that person is gone. Like, gone. Hard to think about for too long. Like staring at the sun, I start to feel all fuzzy when I think about it. So weird how our bodies just stop working like that. It's so strange not seeing most people wearing white. Why? I think it's different for different family members. I can't remember. I haven't gone to many traditional funerals, so mostly white, but like, definitely not red, no matter what. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park, play catch. He loved playing catch. Threw a mean curveball, that's for sure. Coming to himself. December 2nd. Cremation. Today's funeral's for a woman who died from breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Then, we were thanked for the previous preparation, which was a month and a half ago. I was about to say we don't get a lot of business here, but it's kind of fucked up. Also this tab that I noticed. Oof. Say woof because of those prices. But I know full well what that's like. Meet cutes for death-positive cuties. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate it when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There's this dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried for you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we will never speak of again after this moment. You're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day, so maybe meeting somebody in the industry isn't the worst idea? Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now. Vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm gonna try it out because turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. You know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much of a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for next Skype date. Yes, if you sign up for Dead Meat, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works just yet, though. Paycheck coming late. Been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy's been having. A small mom-and-pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm gonna grab some fast food before taking the hearse to the car wash. Swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? Beef and cheddar? I'm gonna take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Just calculate some of our income. I don't have enough to pay you this week. Good check for next week instead. LGBTQ funerals. Respect. Been a long time subscriber to our emails. Follow us on social media. You've no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut, are buried under the wrong names, and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care. This absolutely extends the pronouns, respecting the deceased's wishes as per their lived experiences. CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraud directive. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. Sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources. Enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation, obviously, enters into a world of issues since bodies can be so different. It's been ingrained bias. People can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased gender's identity as they lived it. So a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survived the deceased. So what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come to your office? In America especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal, depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. Funerals honor the deceased, and do that. Honor them. Let's handle this cremation. Which is what my father wanted. And what Mom wants to. Before we cremate Mrs. Hall, we need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process as to not damage them. Start by removing her necklace. Click down the necklace and drag it and place it on a purple tray. Place it in the urn. The remains later. Need to be able to identify her remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag the round identification tag. Place it in her coffin. All set to be cremated now. I admittedly don't have much of a preference on how my body is handled after I die, only because I figure I'm not using it anymore. But if it turns out I am using it after I die, I'll let people know. This is the cribulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cribulator will break these bone fragments down to ash-like remains. Let's place the urn in there. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. I'm not done with you yet, you son of a bitch. That's right, Austin. This is nice in a weird way. She'd like that we're all here together talking. She always tried to keep the family together. Food is delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. Glad she was cremated, not in like an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. Guess we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. After my dad was cremated, what we had, of course, was not a viewing, but so much as what the home called a celebration of life, where people gathered. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. We shall nod, give like a half bow to the urn, walk away. February 14th. I wonder how our time's been going on Dead Meat. News about the future of Rose and Daughter's funeral home. It's gonna no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources I googled told me that would be best. An easiest way to break the ice. Be direct but remorseful. I don't know what to say. Since my father passed, I've done my best to make this place warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use our services. Memorial to him, the original Rose. All become like family, but it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent's going up. I've got less and less energy for this business. A lot of competition from other funeral homes. Larger corporations than we are. They can take on more business and offer more impressive services. And the way it goes. We've been bought. Or I sold. Either way, soon Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated, a company that owns many funeral homes in this city across the country, plays Rose and Daughters, starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the same name for tax purposes, though honestly I'm trying hard not to just see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there's anything I do at this point either. Sign the papers. My father's legacy is still intact somewhat. They have a good reputation, have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you in a more personal way. Would have loved to have a company lunch, but admittedly I didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This is easier for me. Please understand. Oh. Thank you, no? And... this is from a previous funeral. Ryan here. He's a grief counselor. Thought I'd forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help them. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult. Family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I'd be happy to connect them, but I'm feeling a little tired today, not my usual self. It'd be good for you to start building these kinds of relationships on your own. You're a treasure, Charlie. Hi. Ryan needs someone to tell him that it'll be okay. Charlie, I've been playing a new game where things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? Get it? Like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like, seriously, it's really, really difficult. I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front desk job at that hotel for 3 years, but I must have gotten rusty. Anyway, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghost. The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick the restaurant we go to, and one of us is in town next. Keep on protecting Earth with green burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly it's that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment. And bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, it's also cheaper. Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, natural burial is just over $1,000. Better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Don't forget, people, it's still business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and restore preserved natural habitats. Following fluids tend to contain formaldehyde. Funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We think their green burials are pretty cool. So, person's going to be cremated who has a pacemaker, which needs to be removed. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide any for us to include. Is a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because they are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. Let's remove his pacemaker. I can drag the scalpel over the heart to make an incision. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the forceps to click and drag the pacemaker out of the heart. Put the forceps away, and then place the tag in the coffin, and he's all set to be cremated. Boop. So this isn't so much a game as like an interactive experience that we're on. Rilder, you want to explode in the furnace when you die? That would cause property damage. I know how to use the cremulator at this point. Probably got it. Whee! Damn it. Let's try that again. Whee! This is probably disrespectful to remains. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. Didn't we just have an email about honoring the dead? That was like months ago. Wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not. You ever end up clearing the air with your father? Oh, we talked a few times, but not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn. That's just it, stubborn. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere. Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? I always told him to quit smoking. Of course, he never listened to me, so that figures. You, like your cigarettes, have gone up in flames. Rest well. Let's see how the business has changed. Thank you for the service the other month. Wasn't supposed to die yet, it hasn't been easy. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. Been thinking about death. I know, shockingly what you've done to me. I think I want this mushroom suit. No, it's not called that, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm writing you on my phone, so I don't feel like Googling it right now. Anyway, the idea is that it's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made with what people call a biomix? i.e. mushrooms and other microorganisms that help to decompose bodies, neutralize toxins in the body, and provide nutrients for the soil for plants. I think this one company even offers casket liners for using green caskets. I think this is what I want. It'll be just like Hannibal. Wait, don't tell people I said that, okay? But seriously, it's pretty cool. I love all the death innovation happening. We might as well do something when we're in the ground, you know? Love you. Think about it and let me know your thoughts. I want all of your thoughts. If it's not this, then maybe I'll have my ashes made into jewelry. But seriously, I'm probably going to do this. There's no harm in planning ahead, am I right? Welcome back. Now, we really do listicles here. I don't know. I've seen... This is our second list already in our time together. For this month's newsletter, we thought a listicle would be the best way to deliver this month's advice. What not to say at a funeral. You know, figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be extremely difficult, and since that's such a personal issue, it's hard to give specific advice. Some things will be more comforting to other people. Fortunately, we can deliver a little bit more solid advice. What not to say, what to not say to someone who is grieving. You know what? You know what I'll say? Something to not say to me. It contradicts what their previous listicle said. To offer condolences. Someone ever offers their fucking condolences to me at another funeral, I'll probably stand there and shake their hand anyway, but my eyes will be full of, like, deep-seated, like, resentment. I don't want you to be sorry for my loss. Ah! At least they're no longer suffering. Even if this is true, nobody wants to hear this. It's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Like I said, even if it is true, don't be that jerk and just don't say it. That's right, Summer. Get out. Don't offer me your condolences. At least they're no longer suffering. Yeah. Were they saved? No religious statements. They're with the angels now. Let me know how I can help. This one is tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning won't always ask for help. You want to help, suggest specific things, for example. I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something for them, take them to their favorite restaurant, or buy tickets to see a movie together. Huh. Let me know how I can help. Be more direct instead. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Though, that can get extreme, and we can end up in situations where people die and there's too much food. Everything forever is prepared. That happened. That's happened with the deaths of, like, every family member I've had, really. Yeah. Both sets of grandparents. Dad. Yeah. Just food! 5. You're with the angels now, Grimmeth? My god. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't focus this on yourself. Empathy doesn't involve having to commiserate. Sometimes people want to hear your experiences, but don't assume they will ask first. For a quicker version of this list that can be applied in a situation, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say, I'm sorry, if you don't know what else to say. This is just an example of how this list doesn't work for me. Someone apologizes to me, but they didn't do anything wrong. Like, what are you sorry for? You didn't kill him, or did you? Anyway. Good day, Miss Rose. Disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his burial. He was clearly not thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. As for payment, we'll bring a check. Charlie was hoping you wouldn't have to confront the situation yet. Anyways, they're never easy. Rose and daughters have been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the family has demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney or didn't have any witnesses sign his living will or his advance directive regarding these wishes, so his family is legally in the right to do whatever they want with his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do as his family wishes. So I guess she gets to stay on too, or the sale hasn't been final yet. Matthew has graciously offered to take this on if you are uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Is a suicide something you're comfortable dealing with? Let me know. I'm here if you need me. What should we say? Don't talk to me. Don't come to a funeral / celebration of life I'm attending. And if you do, don't talk to me. Or if you do talk to me, make me laugh. I'm capable of doing that myself plenty. The deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. We're not gonna handle the eyes? I'm gonna handle the eyes. I'm not gonna handle the eyes. We had to break rigor mortis first. I want to know who the hell is standing over Charlie's shoulder here while she's doing this. I thought they hired one person for this job, not 2 people. I feel like Rose is actually watching us this entire time, and maybe that's why the funeral home is... like... It's a drone camera? All done. Mike will take care of Mr. Scott's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. Still can't believe he did it. Feel like I should have known, you know? Been able to do something to stop it? There was no way to know. You can't blame yourself. You wouldn't have wanted that. I know. It hurts. Yeah, I know. I wish we were closer. Well, I still can't believe this is real. My baby brother. I should have played more games with him when he asked. I heard it wasn't going to be open casket. I'm surprised it's public. Usually funerals for these circumstances are more private. Rest well. March. Not that many days after the last incident. February 23rd to March 3rd. This is actually the same pair of gloves that we've been wearing since we first got hired. Don't tell anyone. We are pleased to bring on Rose and Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated. It'll be another institution amongst hundreds of other properties owned across the country. Of course, as part of the adjustment process to the Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated, there'll be a number of changes that will come to Rose and Daughters. We'll send out the memo regarding the specifics and details of these changes. We expect them to be followed impeccably. Glad to be leading the way for Rose and Daughters from now on. Chad Grant. What a nose. What a nose. What the hell? First off, this is bullcrap. None of these corporations run would be surprised they're monitoring our emails now. Just upset. I get that Amy didn't have much of a choice. Only fight a huge corporation taking all of your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. They just swooped in and now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitative. Let's grab a drink afterward. Need to blow off some steam, and emails aren't really the most appropriate place to do this, too. Late for me, I guess. Yes, if you're reading this, Hillside Overlord, good. You're invited to attend a death cafe. Come, increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. Join us, have a tea and cake, and talk with others about our thoughts, fears, and illuminations on death. Founder of the Death Cafe movement, John Underwood, once said, when people talk about death and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity. Death Cafe movement. Huh. I mean, maybe that's a thing that happens around these parts, and I've just not heard about that, but... I mean, I guess I could get out more, but I don't think deaf cafes are pretty prevalent here in the state of South Carolina. Can't really write much right now. I have a lot of work I have to do with an inguinal hernia from 1750. It's the oldest in our collection. You can even see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. It's super cool. I'll send you a link when we have a catalog. What is my life? What is that sentence I just typed? But anyway, this event that I'm forwarding you is taking place near you. Figure you'd be into it. Might help with that feeling of restlessness you were talking about before. Could be good to talk about some of the things you're feeling. Lots of deaf positive people there. Sounds like it'll be a safe space. Different funeral traditions. Funeral rites, even our own culture, may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. For many people, they know of funeral traditions or what they see in the media. But I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't the same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for leading the body to different aspects of the service itself. Religion provides different paths for dealing with the death. The goal is almost always the same, offering support, guidance, and ease to the people who are grieving. Judaism, interment usually begins immediately after somebody has passed. Up until burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so often families will appoint a guardian to remain with the body. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizations are also often involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously focused. In the aughts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink drastically, causing a law that be passed that required families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Many families began to cremate more often. There are also companies that compress remains into beads in turquoise, pink, or black called death beads. This also occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue in graveyards and the expenses of cremation. And not all practices are somber either. Ever heard of the turning of the bones? A ritual by the people of Madagascar? I am too sleepy right now, too exhausted to sift through these things. Pamadihana, as families return to an ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. This practice is a celebration, remembrance, and a way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the ways we choose to honor and celebrate our deceased. Okay. Grant for agreeing to take care of Jocelyn's cremation. A bike accident. Lower the details for our next client. You're done and review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. I'll get right to it. Maybe there's no guidance now? It just, like, leaves you to float there on your own? Okay. No. No. Great. All set to be cremated now. Oh no, she has a pacemaker! Alright, I know how to use the cremulator. I get it. Let's be proper about these things. We don't want our corporate overlords to get me. All done. Be presented alongside some flowers. It's called a Deaf Cafe because their top beverage is hemlock tea. I see. He was always so careful. Wore helmets, signaled, used the bike lanes. Asshole drivers need to pay attention. Have you heard what's happening to the driver? No, I haven't wanted to ask Leah. This has been hard enough on them without asking about the legal ramifications of all this. After all this, let's see what we can do to help them. Shouldn't deal with the death of their partner all by themselves. Did we do a vigil at the spot? Jealous drivers, I swear to God. glad I'm here, but wow, I just need a glass of wine to binge watch something right now. Beard hair? How did you get caught in my wrist brace? I don't know why I ask these questions. Hair somehow magically gets caught in everything. The hinge of my glasses, wrist brace, button. I have to go through all of her things. How am I supposed to decide what to keep? You need help? I can help. No, thanks, I mean, but no, I don't know. It's so intimate. Feels like I should do it myself. She would kill me if I saw the things we have. Yeah, it's just kind of a closed book, except to you. Yeah, she was special. So glad it was a cremation. I would have lost it, seeing her body. Same month. Maybe we should consider getting that plant some sunlight. Just throwing that out there, Charlie. Stated in the previous email, here are the new rules and code of conduct I expect you to follow from now on while on any premises belonging to Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated. There's required uniform and strict dress code from now on. No tattoos are to be visible. Ensure they are properly covered and hidden. Consider the opportunity to upsell when speaking with customers and clients. Always encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase the higher quality package. Find that encouraging loved ones to think of the comfort and style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Sure did change. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. Instead, encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase our premium sandwich and appetizer food package. Our partner Catering Concepts provides high-quality food that will be delivered weekly from their factory and easily be defrosted the morning of the funeral. Would all the above changes be instituted effective immediately to ensure a smooth transition to the high-quality services Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated is known for? Charlie, I need a drink. Be after work? P.S. Also, I really want mozzarella sticks. I can be both hungry and angry. And no, I will not say hangry. Ever. Not direct about prices. Just call for a quote. Hello, Charlotte. I have reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family inquiring if we can and will perform green burials. I should inform you this at the beginning, but we do not perform green funerals as they are not cost-effective. All employees of subsidiaries must comply. We do not wish to lose potential customers, though, so do try your hardest to convince the families requesting green burials and instead choose a traditional burial package. Instead, I trust you to ensure we do not lose any customers, Charlotte. I just saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind legs. Like a human being, Charlie, a human being. We as a species have seen the beginning of our end. Home funerals. Why do it? The appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many, especially if the deceased was somebody very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they are ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't that long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option to assume this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods to make them appear more alive. But isn't this process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time in their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members and friends to see the deceased one last time before a day to be buried or cremated. The idea of keeping the deceased body at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time. You can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. Be around your loved ones and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they're economic. Be around your loved ones and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Or narrows his eyes suspiciously at the monitor. But we'll permit this email to continue. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they're economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body preparation, service, flowers, cards, and many other hidden costs and fees, can cost upwards of $7,000 to $10,000. You're able to take care of your loved one yourself to wash and dress them and organize their viewing from home. The only cost remaining is entirely in the cremation or burial itself. However, it's important to understand that different rules apply given on what state you live in. In all states, it's legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement, sign a death certificate overseeing burial or cremation. It's the route you decide to go for yourself and loved ones. Make sure you follow everything like by the book, but just know that this may be an option available to you and your loved ones if so choose. Didn't even consider that was different based on state. Latest contract acquisition. We'll receive the contract with the city to dispose of any unclaimed bodies. It's an important revenue stream for us. Being paid a decent wage from the city for these services, cremation is preferred here as is the most cost-efficient of the two options. First unclaimed body will be handling belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless, whose body has yet to be claimed. No special preparations are needed for this cadaver aside from cremation. Alright, I'll take care of it. Before we cremate this gentleman, we'll need to prepare his body. He doesn't seem to have any valuables on him that would be damaged during cremation, so let's just worry about putting his ID tag into the coffin with him. Okay. Hopefully he doesn't have the pacemaker. And whoop! Damn it. Alright. The urn will be taken to the funeral parlor and placed alongside some flowers. The next month. Maybe we get to have different garb when we're back here where no one else can see us. Hello all, we're thrilled to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated subsidiary, Rose and Daughters, just signed a contract with Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us access to all the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. We're excited for the opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which intakes over 100,000 patients and receives over $15 million in funding and donations annually. It will no doubt be a boon for us on our bright and sustained future. National Revenue Agency. You're interested in starting a funeral services business? Oh my. Guess I should have been paying more attention to these tabs. They could have been different all these other times. I'm done. Putting in my 2 weeks notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporation 101. My skills are useful in other professions. I'm not worried about myself, but you I'm worried about. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work with and for. Don't let them defeat you. Okay? Bring beers over next. We can talk a bit more freely. Oh. Oh my. I kissed her. Dating a special effects makeup artist, and she is like the coolest person I've ever met in my life. She totally loves Ava's possession, was equally freaked out by the possession scenes, but so utterly delighted at the idea of a support group for people who've been possessed. That was your best recommendation in a while, Charlie. You were slipping there. I was getting where you had lost your taste. Yeah, her name is Lily, and she's super death positive and isn't freaked out by my work, and also isn't too into it like that last dude I saw. I just really like spending time around her. I can talk about whatever I want. It's never a conversation stopper. She also totally gets what I mean when I say that, like, working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. It makes everything else feel so much more worth it, you know? Memento mori, or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. We just clicked. It was good. Fun and affirming like dating should be. I'm thinking of taking her to Maple Meadows. She's super into roller coasters, and I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. Then maybe I'll kiss her on top of a Ferris wheel, be super corny and cliche for once in my life. Anywho, enough about me. I'm still kind of in shock from your last email. Think you're gonna do it? You know you have my support 100%, no matter what you decide. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Water cremation. You can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, perhaps more commonly, resomation. The technical name, though, is actually alkaline hydrolysis. Everyone would call it here an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. I'm not going to read the rest of this out loud as Griffith tilts his head in curiosity, like reading the mail. I just noticed, by the way, the coffee. Presumably coffee. Could be tea. Some other beverage. Neat, huh? Huh. I hadn't heard of water cremation before. Okay. Okay. Dear Mr. Graham, regarding the last time we spoke, my daughters and I would still prefer to host a home funeral ourselves and keep my wife here until she's ready to be buried. Just want to make sure she's taken care of. Her heart attack was so sudden. We don't know what to do. Make sure she has a proper send-off. Dear Mr. Demka, I understand you desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife's true traditional funeral package instead. I promise you your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering where all of her beloved friends and family can come together and say their goodbyes. Dinner embalming will allow for everyone to view your wife, ensuring that everyone can see her one final time she was, beautiful, peaceful, and courageous. Let us take care of the food with our prepared food service. We'll ensure you don't have a single thing to worry about on this day. Your daughters are going through a hard time right now. Let us here make this difficult time a little easier for you. Okay, we'll take the traditional funeral package. Thank you for considering us in this hard time. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order not to lose a sale. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to see that we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. That is part of your job. Sure thing. I'll get right to it. Deceased families ask for an open casket funeral. Start by cleaning the body. While this game may be death positive, there's some other things the game's not positive about. For one, big corporations. This feels so impersonal. She would have hated this. Yeah, but I don't know. They must have had their reasons. Oh, hey, what do you think of that trailer I sent you? Oh yeah, I've heard that show was so good. I saw that video of the one kid actor doing karaoke. I'm starving. Why do these things always make me so hungry? You're always hungry. So cold in here. I think they have the air conditioning on too high. Yeah, let's go for a walk later. It's really nice out. It'd be good to stretch my legs. Do you think we did the right thing? I feel bad not doing what Mom asked for. I know, honey, but what that Chad guy said seems right. We don't want to dishonor her memory by letting her rot. Yeah, I just want Mom to know I loved her. Wish I hadn't yelled at her before. Shh, it's okay. She knew you loved her. Fights happen. Please don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her. Me too. So back to us looking up how to start a new funeral parlor on company time. August. This is definitely some months after. Charlie dear, I'm so proud of you, and there's something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. If there's anything I do for you, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. Best wishes, Amy Rose. P.S. I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. You never believe what new job I'm working out. Open this email to find out. Hey, Charlie. When I first became a hearse driver, I was told that my most important job wasn't steering, was sympathizing. I respectfully disagree, and thankfully I concentrate on my driving skills since I'm now working as a, wait for it, bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie. Can you believe that? Pretty sure if I said the most important part of my job now wasn't steering, I'd be fired immediately. I didn't know how else to tell you. For some reason, I was worried you'd think less of me. I don't know why. You've never been the judgmental kind. And besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screamy children, might I add. I actually love it. These kids can be pretty cute, but don't tell Amy that I told you that. She was always harping on me for not having any kids. For being all cynical about them. Congrats on your new business, Charlie. I'm proud of you. I'll swing by your new place one day and show you my new wheels. We can grab a bite to eat. Be seeing ya. Congratulations on your new business! Charlie, I'm so happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you. Seriously, I think our wine intake saw a Brazilian % increase, but you stuck through it all like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move for you. No more having to explain anything you don't want to. Trying to not be too cheesy right now. Can't wait to be home next week for a visit. Check out your new space. P.S. Have you heard about these green burial pods? If I find the link in my 1 million open tabs, I'll shoot it over to you. Today. You're Charlie. Today is the day already, isn't it? Can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and for your work. Made today easier already. I'll see you soon. There's a new tab. Oh no! Magnolia Forest. Okay. I mean, this tab looks great. I'm just not familiar enough with this reality to know how sustainable of a business model that is. That is purely ignorance on my part. So I'm looking at this and I don't know. Location's gonna matter. There's a lot of details that we're not getting here, but it's full of hope. I mean, the previous family that we worked for, that we got hired by, like Amy Rose, like she couldn't sustain her funeral. I guess she was also getting tired of the funeral parlor. This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much. But thank you for helping me give her the funeral she's always wanted. I think we're ready to get started now. That was a Mortician's Tale. Basically a kinetic novel. Ain't got no problems with it. Challenged my thinking. Prodded me with some stuff I hadn't considered. Yeah, no actual choice and consequences on my part. Just a thing on this restless night and morning. I don't know whether soothe me is the right word. Didn't make me feel uncomfortable or awkward. Also not sure why you'd ever need to click continue. I guess something might happen and you might get called away, distracted by your short game. This is one of the 1700 million things that was provided by the Itch Super Bundle to promote racial equality and justice. It was one of the items of it that I had an interest in. I took this trip. It was alright.